Welcome to another episode in the KIPS podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia. I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. Got a topic, a guest in the music realm. So she's a fitness instructor that I met through a fitness conference, and her and I have stayed in touch. She's been a guest on the KIPS podcast previously. And today, Kristi Taylor is going to be talking about music and your participants and how all that fits into how you're assembling the guys, how you're keeping the mood, all that kind of great stuff. But Kristi, first of all, thanks for coming on again.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, always. Before we get to the main topic, the meat and potatoes here, for the people listening or watching, can you give a little background on yourself, educational history, how you got to what you're doing now, and even what you're doing now?
Okay, I'd be happy to. Well, becoming a fitness professional was my version of a midlife crisis, if you will. I had been a stay-at-home mom for several years. And when I reached about 40 years old and my kids were finally all in school, I didn't have little ones at home anymore, I felt like I needed to do something. And at the same time, I was taking classes at my local rec center, and they had an employee change, new instructor. She was in charge of the cardio class, and she was terrible. She was awful. She did not know how to keep a beat. Now, I have, previous to this, I studied music and I studied dance in college. So to have a cardio instructor who did not know how to keep a beat was extremely frustrating to me. And I remember leaving a class thinking, I could teach this better than she could. And then the little bell went off in my head. Well, why don't you? So at the same time, my sister was actually becoming a fitness instructor. She said, hey, you should give it a try. And it's all been history from there. I got certified to teach high fitness. And then after that, I decided to become an AFA certified group fitness instructor. I now teach for 2 different gym chains here in Arizona. And I also have my workouts online on Recess TV.
Nice. And I got to follow that up with, I think keeping a beat is one of the hardest things with teaching classes. Like I think I've told this story a few times on the podcast. Back when I was in college, we had to do a whole course on teaching group exercise, had to learn how to teach different formats. And I remember like my final project, I just kept going with like the counts, because keeping count, giving cues, direction, all this kind of stuff, and also doing it at the same time. It's literally like the next level of like the whole tapping your head and like rubbing your belly at the same time. It's like the next level in the fitness industry with it. So I always give credit for the people that can do it well, that just crush it in that area. And that's part of why I have not even I don't teach those types of classes myself, is that I know it's a challenge that takes practice. It takes more than just take your certification and then go. You have to really practice it. It's your craft. It's part of how you mentioned with music as well. Like it's part of your craft that takes practice, and it's not something that you're just going to get overnight.
Oh, absolutely. My children frequently walk in on me as I'm in the bathroom, practicing my routines for the following day, for the next workout. I listen to the music in the car all the time. And quite honestly, I probably shouldn't be allowed to drive, because I'll be going along and then all of a sudden I'm doing shoulder press, hands are off the wheel as I'm practicing in my head what I'm going to do the next day in my workouts.
Yeah. You got to live it. Just how you're saying that you live it. You live the music, you live the beat, which is awesome. Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. And to kick it off, we're talking about music, your classes, selecting music. And it was kind of a coincidence that the last week, and I could be drawing a blank on it. It was the last week, the week before that. Sometimes it just happens. The weeks just kind of fold into each other. And there was a post in a group exercise class on Facebook that I'm in, and somebody was talking about a guest or a participant that was complaining about their music. Mm-hmm. And I thought I should bring this up for this episode, because I think that's a great area to even talk about too. Like when you have a participant that is complaining about your music level, first of all. And this instructor was asking about, well, what do you guys all think? Do you think that I should turn it down? Do you think that this member needs to talk with a manager? Do you think that I should just turn it down? And this instructor that posted about this even shared that they know that their levels are not even that high compared to other instructors. And so that's one of those, I don't want to call it tricky, but it's one of those moments that many instructors are going to have, especially in a live setting. The decimal level of the music is sometimes high. I know that even when I wasn't teaching classes, just being at the gym, working out, some classes, they pump it up. And like everybody knows this that works at a gym, that when they open the door, just for that split second, like somebody comes in, exactly, they hit you.
Yeah. Sound waves in your face.
Boom. And so what do you think about this? Do you think that, I just want to get your feedback first before I even respond to it. What do you think?
Okay, well, the best offense is a good defense. Let's avoid the problem to begin with. First, before class starts, yes, you want to pump people up, but you also want people to bond and get to know each other. That's what really makes a great cohesive class, and will get more people to your classes if they know the other individuals who are coming. So I actually prefer to keep the volume kind of low before class starts to help people talk, because if the music is too loud, they're not going to engage in a conversation with the person next to them. They're just going to stay on their phone, because you don't want to be shouting, "Hi, how are you?" Like, that just doesn't work. So start with the music low. And then when it's time for that workout to begin, bring it up a bit, but still leave yourself a little room. You don't want to go all the way up, because it does no good to make our bodies magnificently strong but go deaf in the process. Okay. Now, there will always be an individual or two who it doesn't matter how soft you have the music, they're going to complain about it being too loud. And a great tip that I've seen other instructors do, and I should probably do this myself. I have a good friend of mine who brings earplugs. She brings a little bag of earplugs and leaves them right near the front door. And anybody can take a set. They're just the disposable, really, really cheap kind you get off Amazon. And they can put those in their ears if they want to. She doesn't actually have too many people take her up on the offer, but it is there so that everyone can be accommodated. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on the volume issue. Start it off lower, and then provide something for those individuals who just really cannot handle loud noises.
Yeah, I think that approach, just to start off with that, I think you're promoting community, first of all, that you're allowing it to happen. And I think that that's one of the things that we always talk about, is how do we get our members to interact and even interact with yourself? How do you promote that type of environment? But I think the other piece that came to my mind, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of online stuff that I know that I've talked about with guests, and I most likely even you as well, because I feel like we've talked about this before, is how with online instruction, we've kind of had to learn that music just can't be there. And that's the only motivating factor, is that we have music that's going, people, they got their favorite songs going. We have to use our voice, our motivation that we speak during a class online. And I know that I've asked this to instructors that do both online and in person, and they have shared with me how they believe that online has improved their in-person, because now they're not as reliant on the music and what the words are in the music or the beat for it. They use their own inspiration that they heard somewhere, they liked it, wherever they got it from. And so I think that that's one of the big things that I took away. You are creating an environment with starting low that, one, people can hear you, but now you give yourself that opportunity. You're now not shouting over the music. A quick little promo break here in this episode. If you're a fan of the KIPS podcast, you know that at some point there's a promotion for the Naboso Duo insoles. I just pulled these out of my shoes, gave them a quick rinse to get the sock dust off of them, and I wanted to talk about them because they're great. They're fantastic. They make an impact on your daily life. If you sit at a desk or if you're on your feet, sometimes your feet just feel achy, or maybe they feel like they went to sleep. That's for myself. I felt like after work working a full day that my feet did not want to go to the gym, work out, do something active, and it led to some bad habits. But with these, I feel more active. I feel I can do more things, and I've been using them for over a year now. With your clients, with your family, with your friends, share them, talk about them, see what they think, because they really do make a difference. If your feet feel more active, you're gonna be more active, and that equates to being more healthy. Check them out. There's a link in the description. See all the products they have, and let's get back to this episode.
Oh, absolutely. Going back to the online topic, when I was teaching online live classes, which is what everybody had to do during COVID and the shutdown, I found very quickly that even though I may have had 12 or 13 people joining at the same time, it was really almost a one-on-one experience because everybody was just doing it in their own homes.
Yeah.
And so I not only needed to have great music, but I also needed to have really good emoting skills, being able to convey emotion through my words, through my facial expressions, to make sure that I was giving the client on the other end in their living room as much motivation as I possibly could. So it was really a combination of all those factors. And then those skills translated over to the in-person environment nicely. And we still use those same skills with a group of people. You want to use an appropriate volume of music to get them pumped up, but also in the way you talk, you encourage them, how you count down. I usually, when I'm counting down how many reps we have left, I'll start out soft, like 4, 3, 2, and then 1, you did it. Getting that emotion out there.
Yeah, I feel like that's you reminded me of that, your facial expressions. I feel like that's one of the things that we've talked about before, that we often don't think about those, but people are watching. They're watching all the time in terms of how, what your emotions are, what the music, all that stuff plays into it. And, that goes into the whole, like being on with a group exercise class, because you don't know who's watching and what their emotions are, what kind of day they've had. And so just being able to turn yourself on, that's maybe not the best way to describe it, but turn yourself on, because you could impact someone that way. And I think that's part of our job as a fitness professional, is to impact someone in a way during a class. And that's one of those things, like you got to put whatever's in your head to the side, because you have this moment with them and you can make a difference.
Oh, it is a performance. Yeah. You are the star of your workout show, and you are there to help them get over what bad stuff happened the hour before, the day before, and have an hour where it's just them getting their needs met. And so gotta plaster that smile on the face, always, even if you're dying.
Always. Let's keep it rolling now in the music realm, and another area that I'm interested to talk about this one. Because it's, I know that when I taught live, and so I would use Spotify, and I would go into my settings, and after I was just a side note into my life here, that once I was done teaching live classes, I went into my settings and I turned it back on. The expletive, I can't even say it now. Music with cuss words, swear words in your playlist and even in your selection. And when I taught live, I always made sure that I had that setting on, that I didn't want that type of music while I was teaching a class. And I think when I wrote this question for us to talk about, I didn't even know where I stood on this, to be honest. And so let's start with you. What do you think about music that does have inappropriate wording in it?
I have very strong feelings on this topic. Let me lead with that. Mm-hmm. And my feelings are, if the word isn't in the Bible, it shouldn't be in your workout. So there, mm-hmm. if a word is not in the Bible, it shouldn't be in your workout. Then there's many reasons for that. Number one, I have never, ever had anyone come up to me and say, loved your workout, Kristi, but dang, I wish there were more swear words. No one has ever said that.
Yeah.
Okay? No one has ever said, oh, it was a great vibe, but could you put in a few more racial slurs? But guaranteed, there are people who have talked to our managers and said, I really felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There were a lot of F-bombs. In fact, I know this has happened. Our manager at EOS recently sent out an email to all of the instructors to say, please watch your music. And then individuals have come up and talked to me about other instructors saying, I really like so-and-so's class, but oh gosh, there were some naughty words. So just take it out. There are millions of songs. You don't have to use the one that's got the F-bomb. Another thing to keep in mind too is that, especially if you are online, you don't know whose kids are going to be working out behind them. You know, if their 4-year-old is going to walk in the room when you're in the middle of the push-up track.
That's a good one.
Keep it clean. Absolutely keep it clean.
Yeah. I guess my view is just eliminate it before it becomes an issue. I think that's along the same lines of what you're saying there. I mean, that's really what I did, is that I just turned a setting on so that I didn't have to worry about it, that I didn't have to think about it while a song was going. And I mean, sometimes, because in the formats that I taught for group, they were boot camp style or circuit styles, that music, you're not on the beat for anything. It's just there in the background to get the class moving. And I think that just eliminating it from the beginning, it just takes one worry. There's so many factors that go into a class that you not only just your participants, how is your class in terms of it was another class in there before? Is there other stuff? Or did somebody walk in? Like, I know that one that I used to teach a class, I was in a half of a basketball gym. And so I had to worry about, are members going to come in and just try to shoot hoops over the people? Because they would just do that. And it's like, what's going on here? Like, where's the common sense? Where there's a class in here. Yeah. So I think that there's so many things that can happen in a class. Just eliminate one item so that you can focus more on the people in there. So it's a good area. Like I said, I didn't know when I wrote this question for this episode, like even where I stood on it. But I think you brought up a great viewpoint too, even with that one, managers have definitely gotten complaints about it. And that's one of the things that people will say that they don't ask for more swear words during a class. And so I think it's a tough one. So that might be a good one. If somebody's listening, throwing in a comment on YouTube or even on social media on this post for this, what you think? I think that's one that a great topic for people to share what they think, because I don't know for myself. But let's keep it rolling with music now and talk about your process. I think that was the big thing when we were setting this episode, your process for getting your music ready for a class, selecting music for your class type, your demographics, all that kind of stuff. What is your own process that you're going through?
Okay. The first question you need to ask yourself when selecting your music is, who is going to show up?
Yeah.
And that means you need to know a little bit about the demographics of either the gym that you're teaching at in person or who has been attending your online classes. So let's talk about in-person classes for a minute at a gym. Some of the things to watch for are, where is that gym located? Is it in an older neighborhood? Are there older individuals coming? Or is it in a younger neighborhood? What time of day are you teaching? Are you teaching in the morning when it's mostly retirees and stay-at-home moms? Or are you teaching in the evening when you've got the students that are coming or the folks who want to get in a workout right after work?
Yeah.
How much does the gym cost? If it's a higher end gym, you are probably going to get older individuals because they can afford it. You're not going to get a whole lot of Gen Zers at a gym that costs $200 a month. But if you're at more of an economical gym setting, then yes, you might have those students coming in, those both high school and college, or maybe young adults. So your first is to look at who is coming in, and then select your music based on your demographics. Okay. So one of the gyms I work at that I teach at is located right next to a 55 plus active adult community. It's also a slightly more expensive gym. And so most of the people that are coming to my classes at that particular location are older Gen Xers and baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to appeal to the baby boomers and the Gen Xers, you need to use music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and a little bit of the 90s too, especially if it's Generation Xers that are coming to your class. We love the 90s. All right. So you can skip the Doja Cat. All right. You can skip the Drake. Go for the disco. They love it. All right. Go for the Madonna, the Michael Jackson. Pick music that is going to appeal to the individuals who are coming. And that means you need to know a little bit about when music came out. Now, if you're teaching at a club where you've got much younger individuals coming, millennials. So, for example, millennials are individuals who are anywhere between 20 and 40 years old, roughly. And an interesting thing occurred with millennials when it comes to music. That's when music streaming started to become really popular. Back in my generation, yes, I am calling myself old. The Gen Xers, when we wanted to listen to music, we had the radio or mixtapes and CDs. Okay. Yes. All right. So, and there was a romance to it. When your favorite artist just came out with a new album, you went to the CD store, you bought their CD, you put it in the CD player, and you listened to it over and over and over again. All right. Whole albums. But then came streaming music. And now for millennials and Gen Z, the next generation, or they call it the I generation, it isn't so much about albums, it's about playlists. Mm-hmm. And this next generation of consumers, if you will, they have a wider selection of music that they like, but it's also harder to pinpoint because the streaming services are giving them music from all different types of genres, okay, all different types of decades. And so with them, for those particular type of participants, I actually recommend getting on TikTok. If it's streaming on TikTok, then most likely the millennials are going to know about it. And so have a foot in TikTok and know what is streaming there, and then look towards those artists and use those particular artists, assuming the lyrics are clean, in your playlists.
That reminded me of something right there that could be a different avenue in terms of if someone doesn't have TikTok. What I actually recently did, and you literally just triggered something in my mind there that like, wait a minute, I did something similar, was in my Instagram account, I was looking for like reel templates, but then I started looking at the songs, and they have trending songs in there from a variety of artists. They even have a popular section, multiple pages of it, and you can listen to the song, the preview of it, and then you could open your Spotify at the same time and just either like it or add it to a playlist right there. So now you're getting the trending songs that are going on right now in Instagram. You can see right there. So 2 examples right there, whether TikTok, Instagram, where you could easily find, if you're like, I don't know what's popular now, I don't listen to the radio. You just use what's in your pocket, your iPhone or your, I don't know why people have Androids, but use your phone, your smartphone.
I'm an Android user. And they're amazing, by the way.
No, stop it right now. But right there, that it's right in your pocket in terms of how you can see what's trending. Like I found songs, I wasn't doing it for work related. It was more of like, you exactly explained myself in terms of, I'm just looking for what's popular right now. I might have heard the song somewhere, but I want to put it to a playlist so that later on, whether I'm cleaning my house or playing disc golf, working out, whatever it might be, I want that playlist to go in different artists. So I was just in Instagram. I was looking at, again, templates for making reels that are in there. And I found my way over to the music tab, and I'm just looking at what's popular. So great little tidbit right there that you brought up right there that really triggered that whole sequence. I dig that right there. That was really good.
Well, and a lot of artists have made their name through TikTok. Olivia Rodrigo, Lil Nas X, they first got noticed because of their music on TikTok. And now, of course, everybody's heard of them. Another suggestion for anybody who's listening out there who is not on TikTok and doesn't care to, and by the way, I don't blame you if you don't want to get on TikTok. Here's something that you can do. The radio. Now, I know you think that's really an old-fashioned idea for trying to find new music, but this is why. The radio is not set up to any sort of algorithm. Each radio station has a particular demographic they want to reach, but they're not selecting the next song based on what you liked previously. They're just trying to fit an entire or reach a particular demographic. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening to the radio, particularly like a top 40 station, and you hear certain songs over and over and over again, that's a good clue that that particular song is quite popular right now. True story. That's how I became acquainted with the group AJR, who apparently have been quite popular for a while, but I didn't know them until I was driving along one day and I heard their song Bang, 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 Bang. Great song. So I heard their song Bang while listening to a radio station. And I'm like, that's a great song. And so I quickly picked up my phone. Again, I probably shouldn't be allowed to drive. And I hit the button that says what song is playing. And so I'm holding my phone up to the radio while driving with the other hand. And then my phone tells me it's Bang by AJR. So went home, looked up AJR online, and they have a lot of really great songs. And suddenly I have a new band that I really like. But then I started playing their songs in my workouts, and all the millennials, their eyes just went, yay! So that's another avenue for discovering new music.
That's good. Do you have a specific app that you use for people listening that might not? I personally use Shazam for when there's a song that I want to know what the name, who the artist is. Do you have a different one?
Well, on my Android phone, next to the Google search bar is a little microphone, and I push it, and it's just like Shazam, and it tells me the song or it tells me the song or whatever voice that is currently playing what it is.
Yeah.
Androids.
We'll keep it rolling here with the music realm and with now the preparation like, and I've been asked this question from other friends that I have in the fitness industry that they're managers themselves. They work with a team and maybe they're rather new managers. The last time I can remember was a few months ago, somebody that I grew up with who's in the fitness industry, he just messaged me randomly about, hey, what do you think about paying fitness professionals, or he said instructors, for setup time? And everything we're talking about here, this is important to a class, and typically we don't get paid for it. It's not part of your setup. There's a lot of creativity in it. So I'll share my feedback on it after, because once I start talking about creativity, it kind of starts to swing towards my viewpoint on it. But what is your opinion on this? I think this is an important topic that should be discussed more. What do you think?
Absolutely. Managers need to keep in mind that your instructor showing up, yes, he or she is about to teach a 50 to 55-minute class, but they've probably put in at least an hour of prep time before coming, whether it was creating a sequence of movements or assembling a killer playlist. They put in a lot of prep time, and that should be reflected in the per class price that or wage that is received in return. And that is a word of warning to any new instructors who might be out there or thinking of getting into the fitness industry. Make sure that you are being adequately compensated, and take into account whatever rate that gym is offering you per class, that you do have a lot of prep time, and you should be compensated for the hour or so of prep time that goes into creating a fantastic workout. And managers need to be aware of that too. Good instructors are going to prep, and they'll prep well. And you want good instructors because good instructors are going to create that cohesive class that's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the great playlist, it's got the great moves, but it also builds community.
Yeah.
And when there's a community, those customers come back again and again and again.
100%. 100%. I think that, well, I've said it before that I think that the fitness industry is generally, I think I'm generous when I say 5 years. It's more like 10 years behind with other industries. And this is one of those things right there that all the things you mentioned, my viewpoint is in terms of creativity. I own a company, Time to Train Fitness, that we have instructors, and how can I tell them I want them to be more creative and to spend more time on it, but not compensate them for it. And so that was something that we worked out over the last few months, was a rate for that, because how do you promote creativity when on their mind might be, well, I'm putting all this extra time, energy into this, and I'm still getting my one rate. The same thing goes for in person, that instructors, quality instructors, they have time in their week that they're prepping for their classes throughout the week, music, their workouts, depending upon where they're teaching at, the demographics of it. There's all those factors in it. And so how can you say that, oh, I'll just find another one? Let's see, there's plenty of instructors out there when we know that's not the truth. Anybody that's worked at a gym knows that there's always the popular instructors that they teach at multiple gyms. I mean, I remember the last one I worked at, there was an instructor that he taught at several, and he had like a flock of his groupies. I call them groupies, but that's what they really, I mean, there are. Yeah, they do. They follow him to every single gym in an area, which is, it's crazy when I say it out loud, but a quality instructor can do that. They have that following because people enjoy their classes, and they're going to pay whatever it is to take a class from them.
Absolutely. Exercise is hard. So if someone wants to exercise and they find an instructor who properly motivates them, like, yes, I'm just going to keep going, because now I've finally found someone who motivates me. And yeah, the followings are a thing.
Yeah.
In the group fitness world.
Oh yeah. And so you had a good segue there talking about for new instructors with figuring out their pay for it. Now let's continue on with that for new instructors. Okay. They just got their certification. So even pulling from your recent, I'm trying to remember how long ago you entered the industry, but pulling from your background, when you went through this process, what was that like for you when you were deciding what music to put into your classes? What was your mental process even that you were going through with, okay, I got my first class here? Because I know every new instructor is going through that. They're thinking about every element because they don't know. What is it for you? What advice?
Right. So if you're either a brand new instructor or you're brand new to a facility and you don't know the demographics very well, or maybe you're substituting and you're just hopping into a situation, you don't know who's going to show up. Go on the safe side and use a wide variety of music, a wide variety of genres. Get a little bit of hip hop in there, some pop, maybe a rap song, maybe even a country song. Get some disco. Make sure you have a variety. Cover all your genres, cover all your decades. That's going to be your safe bet. And then as you get to know the demographics, as you watch their faces to see when the smiles pop up, make note of that. And then use those types of songs moving on. Yeah. Or at least enough that you're appealing to the individuals who really, really like K-pop, or something like that.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's, I'm pulling from my own history now. I remember when I used to sub, that you brought up a good point there with subbing too, when you're going into an unknown that you don't know anything about this demographic. You could be a veteran. And the situation that I'm pulling from right now in my head, that I've already been working in the industry over 10 years, and somebody that I knew, hey, can you sub for me? Like, I teach this class and it's at 5:30 p.m. They all come from some office right across the street. Can you do it? And you're like, yeah, I guess I can do it. And you don't know what's going into it. What's your playlist going to be? Play it safe, pick just some different genres, go with maybe what's popular. I think that's one of the safest bet, and then adjust. Just how you said, adjust with that kind of stuff. It's one of those ones that being safe and then adjusting it, because we might use music in a different way with once you get familiar with it, we might use it as more motivation. Maybe it's a theme, all that kind of stuff. That's a good one that I just thought of there. With themes now, how do you handle theme workouts?
I'm so glad you asked, because I love themed workouts. And when I say themed, it's the music that's themed. I know some individuals like to do, for example, leg day, and everything's legs or arms. But for me, in my personal classes, it's the music that is themed. And it's a great way to mix things up and to provide a fun little surprise for your participants. I have themed workouts for all major holidays. And then I also like to do like an 80s day where it's all 80s music, or a 90s day where it's all 90s music. And for those themes, I try to also tell a story a little bit. I'll give you, for example, the St. Patrick's Day workout that I just did this past month. Mm-hmm. We started off and I welcomed everybody. I said, top of the morning to you. You know, this is going to be our St. Patrick's Day themed workout. And we're going to have songs about luck. We're going to have songs by Irish artists. And we're going to have a couple sea shanties thrown into the mix. And yes, it was a legitimate sea shanty, and it was so much fun. But as I put that playlist together, I wanted to keep it popular. So we had some Maroon 5, and we had some Script, who's from Ireland, by the way, and also U2. So songs that people all right, U2, everybody knows U2. And so they could, then when they heard that first chord, so many eyes lit up and they started singing along. But then I also had like the sea shanty. I had an Irish jig that no one had heard of before. But we had fun with it, and the participants appreciated it afterwards. They came up and talked to me about how they appreciated mixing things up and having something a little bit different. I wouldn't do a themed class every single week, of course, but throwing one in every now and then, especially for holidays, is always appreciated. And some of those holiday songs, like for example, for 4th of July, I always put in ROCK in the USA by John Mellencamp. Everyone knows the words to that song. So they are singing along and they have a great time.
Yeah. I think the point that I took away from it was people appreciate it. And I'll share it. I mean, it's not like I consider myself the most amazing instructor, but I know that was something that I had to work on. I had participants that wanted me to mix up my music more, and I had to work on it. And I just couldn't just turn on a playlist and just play that same one each time. They appreciate that extra effort. They notice the work you put into it. You might think, okay, nobody's gonna, because I made this special playlist for them. No, they notice everything. And it's one of those items that keeps them coming back. They know that you put the extra work into it, that you are working for their own enjoyment. And so they'll come back, they'll tell people about it, all those things that I think we don't necessarily think of right off the bat from just a playlist, but I think it definitely has that effect.
Oh, it does. I could quote so many scientific studies about how music, when people recognize the music and like it, it causes the brain to start firing all these not only fantastic neurons, but also adrenaline, endorphins, dopamine, all of the neurochemicals that energize us and make the pain go away. In fact, I believe it was in 2007, the U.S. governing board for running and running races actually banned personal music players. They said it was for safety, but it was really because the participants who were using personal music players were doing a lot better than those who weren't. And so to even the playing field, they said, okay, nobody can use it because of the effect that music has on the brain and on performance. So yeah, when it comes to your workouts, mix up that music, watch which songs light up the faces of your participants, and then use more of those types of songs. And they will see the results, and you will see the results. They'll want to keep coming back.
Great stuff there. We're going to get now to the podcast takeaways here with this episode, and just with 2023 in general, I have switched up just slightly the question I've been asking, and each guest, they can take it however they want in terms of how in depth they want to do it. And with Kristi yourself, you do online training as well with your in person. So I think it's a good one to ask in terms of what are 3 myths with online training?
Okay. 3 myths with online training. It's a fast way to get millions of followers, and you can retire early.
That's a good one.
It takes a lot of time to build up an online presence.
Oh, yeah.
Is it worth it? Yes, because you can reach so many more people than you could just doing workouts in person. So it is worth it, but keep in mind it's going to take time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to take a lot of marketing on social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, if you happen to have it. Any of the free platforms that are out there, use them, and use them a lot if you want to build up your online workouts.
It's a good one. Keep it rolling.
Okay, 3 myths. That's right. That iPhones are superior to Androids. They're not. They're not. And you can use an Android for online workouts as well. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
I like it. I'll take it.
The next about online workouts, that they're easy, that they don't, they're just for people who are pansies. Absolutely not. Online workouts can be just as tough, just as physically demanding, and provide the results as being in person. Yeah. So I think when it comes to a participant who's trying to decide what should I do, I would say to that participant, what setting is going to motivate you more and help you get that workout done? If driving to a gym and being with other people is going to get the workout done, then go to the gym. If you only have 20 minutes of time in your crazy day and driving anywhere just doesn't work, do the online workout. So whatever is going to get you to exercise, do it. And then for the fitness professional, should I do in person? Should I do online? It's kind of the same question. What venue is going to motivate you to get excited to get up and teach? If it's being able to do it from your living room, do online. There's lots of opportunities on various different platforms. Or if you need the break from the house, go to the gym and go talk to a manager there and see what you can do about getting on their schedule there. So it's basically the same question, whether that needs to be answered, whether you are the fitness participant or the fitness professional.
Agree. 100% agree. I think that the first one is one that I'll just share a little bit about to wrap us up here. I think that many people think that immediately you're going to just get a ton of subscribers. It's going to be super easy, but it's the journey that you learn so much. And that's the way that I always phrase it, is that it's the journey that you really get the most from, that helps you with your career. I think that, so with my business, Time to Train, we started with an on-demand platform, but now we're just on YouTube. And with that switch and learning how to create quality content, it pays off in other areas, with whether it's social media, whether it's with community, all these types of things. It all comes from the journey. So whether you start the journey now, you start it later on, you're going to get a lot from it. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be some headaches, but I would say start it when you can, because you'll learn a lot and hopefully helps you stay within the fitness industry. Before we sign off here, Kristi, can you give your social media links, website, all that kind of great stuff?
Yes. I am on Instagram and Facebook at Fit Chris Taylor. And that's FITKRIS TAYLOR. So use that handle for both Instagram and Facebook. And then if you use that same letters, FITKRISTAYLOR, on Recess TV, that is the online platform that I use for my virtual workouts. So just plug those same letters into the search bar and my channel will come up.
Great. And those will be in the description for this episode and on the landing page so that you can easily find Kristi. Kristi, thank you for coming on, sharing this. This episode really flew by, and I thought we had a lot of great tips that people could utilize right away if you're teaching classes. So thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.